6:44, let's get to breaking updates coming your way in our Sunrise Smart Start. An 18-year-old man shot in Greece. This happened around 12:30. The latest update, still alive, but with serious injuries in critical condition. That shooting happened at this apartment complex on Infinity Lane. You're looking live at the scene now. Plenty of Greece police officers there with their cruisers blocking off the entrance to the apartment complex and the crime scene tape up. Again, we're going on 6 hours now since that 18-year-old was shot. We are told we will get another update later on today from the chief's office. We'll carry that for you here at rochesterfirst.com and pass that along. As we look ahead to other news happening today, it is the sentencing for Seth Larson, the Irondequoit man convicted of murdering his 37-year-old girlfriend in 2021. Prosecutors say Larson killed, then dismembered Lisa Schuler, trying to hide her remains in Durand Lake. Her torso left under a tarp in the backyard of a home. Larson is facing a max sentence of 25 years to life. News 8 has learned a plea deal could now be in the works for David Yacobonis, the local war veteran who rushed at former Congressman Lee Zeldin as he ran for governor. Yacobonis confronted Zeldin at a campaign stop in Perrington last year at the VFW. He was then released to PTSD and alcohol treatment programs in Bath. He's done with that and has been moved to a local recovery house, and he cannot leave there without getting permission.
I look forward to continuing the work of sobriety and recovery at the Veterans Outreach Center's Richards House. I recognize in the months and years ahead of my recovery will require an ongoing commitment by me, and I'm committed to doing that work and fulfilling the trust that has been placed upon me by the court. Thank you.
Again, we're told federal prosecutors and his legal team have been looking at a possible plea. No final decision on that. The next court date for him, March 29th. To the Finger Lakes and that deadly police shooting in Canandaigua, a man from Pennsylvania killed after he was shot by law enforcement. Deputies say Brandon Zirkin pointed his gun at officers. This all started late Tuesday night in East Bloomfield when deputies followed the 31-year-old driving erratically into Canandaigua. They say at one point there, the suspect was shooting from his car. Deputies say he then plowed through the lawn at the burned dairy before crashing into a site at Main Street. That's when they say he came at police with a gun in his hand. The town of Canandaigua has issued a boil water advisory following a water main break between Jefferson and Ontario streets. That order remains in effect until further updates. Families for now asked to boil their water for at least 3 minutes for drinking, cooking, brushing teeth, and other reasons. You don't have to do that though before a bath or shower. The city and town are taking water samples for the next 2 days to make sure it's safe. If you have any questions or other concerns in the meantime, you can call the Highway Department. That is 394-3300. To Buffalo, where first responders are mourning the tragic loss of a 37-year-old firefighter killed while fighting this huge fire yesterday in the city. Some of our Rochester fire teams were also sent there to help with the response to the 4-alarm fire. Authorities say workers were using torches on the outside of the building, and that may have been the cause of what happened there. The now 19-year-old man who murdered 10 black people in last year's mass shooting at Tops in Buffalo was due to appear in court yesterday. The racist gunman waived his right to appear, so only his attorneys were there. Peyton Gendron could face the death penalty for the federal charges, which he pleaded not guilty to. Last month, after he pleaded guilty to the state charges, he got life in prison. Many of the victims and survivors were also there in court.
Nothing really came out of today, but you know, we're standing together and standing strong and making sure that we're here whenever there is something going on for this case. We're going to be here.
At this time, the U.S. Attorney General's office has not announced a decision on whether it will pursue the death penalty. The shooter's attorney said he again plans to plead guilty if the death penalty is off the table. For now, for the state sentence, he's currently serving that here at the Livingston County Jail. A mobile DMV unit is opening up in Brockport. The goal is to increase access to underserved areas, helping to ensure everyone has access to vital resources. That'll be open the first Wednesday of every month from 10:30 to 3:30 at Village Court. County clerk says they may plan to expand even further. We will pass that along if that happens. Buying clothes in Monroe County is just a little bit cheaper. Items less than $110 will not come with the local 4% county sales tax. County and business leaders made that announcement yesterday. They estimate it will put about $12 million back into people's wallets every year. We also spoke with the owner of Shop Peppermint here in the city, which mainly sells women's apparel. She says she's been pushing to do away with the sales tax locally on clothing for years, but this is now that it's finally happening, it will boost business. In Albany, state lawmakers are once again looking at legislation that would decriminalize sex work between consenting adults. Prostitution, to be clear, remains illegal here, but sex workers are pushing for legislation to remove some barriers they face when it comes to reporting crime in their field of work. Supporters say this would strengthen protections for a vulnerable community. Those opposed say it would give abusers more power.
It includes both the sex worker, the person who is selling their body, and someone who is purchasing the sex. So it takes away criminal penalties, it prevents raids from happening, and ensures that sex workers are safer.
The reality is that in prostitution, like a lot of times people die. In prostitution, sex buyers can stab you. In prostitution, sex buyers, traffickers can hit you. They can force you to buy or consume substances.
Some argue lawmakers should instead push for the equality model, which offers education, decriminalizing people who are bought and sold, and offering exit strategies for those trapped in prostitution. Northern California, Sierra Nevada is struggling to dig out after 12 feet of snow fell in the last week. 2 more feet expected this weekend. Down in the mountains around the eastern part of LA, some neighbors of Lake Arrowhead are stuck in their homes, and there's a state of emergency with supplies running low in the community. 40-year-old Mark Muffley will be in federal court today after he was arrested, accused of checking a bag full of explosives at an airport in Pennsylvania, that flight bound for Florida. According to court documents, an alert went off during security screening. The TSA then found the explosives. Authorities say a bag tag with the suspect's name on it was easy to help investigators track him down. In South Carolina, Alex Murdaugh's defense attorneys will give their closing arguments today as the double murder trial reaches a conclusion. Prosecutors had their turn yesterday. They argue the once prominent South Carolina lawyer killed his wife and son. The case will soon be in the hands of the jury. Murdaugh is facing up to life in prison. 9 minutes to go until the top of the hour at 7 o'clock, 33 degrees. Here's James with a look at how about a morning walk today?
Yeah, a stroll.
Yes.
Pretty comfortable out there. We're going to go comfortable based on the calendar, right? It's the 2nd of March, so numbers starting off in the 30s is not bad. Usually we are well into the 20s. Sunrise just a few moments ago. That is nice. Unfortunately for us early birds, we lose all that bright light when daylight saving time kicks in. All those people that like to stay up late are all happy about it. We might groan as we looked at that time gets pushed back. But the sunset gets pushed back to after 7 p.m. in just a couple of weeks. We'll take a look at the 8-day forecast at the end of the show. Brennan.
Thank you, James. Sunrise traffic reports of a new accident out on the west side. That's Howard Road and Buffalo Road. That report coming in at about 6:08. We'll have another check of the expressways in our cut-ins on CBS Mornings at about 7:25. Another update here. The owner of Preston's Landscaping in Ontario tells us the person caught on video this week stealing trees from a state park in a company vehicle is an employee at the business, though they were not acting on behalf of the business when this happened. Video from Beechwood Park in Sodus shows more than 15 saplings stolen in that red Preston's truck. The owner, Aaron Preston, says this happened during the employee's off hours. Preston went on to add the employee was not aware that stealing plants or a tree from a park is illegal, and claims the employee has since brought them back to police when confronted. Relief is on the way for diabetic patients crushed with the soaring costs of insulin. A major drug maker is cutting prices and expanding a cap on costs for those with and without insurance. Eli Lilly announced the new prices for insulin, capping the out-of-pocket costs for diabetics at $35 a month. That move comes amid so much pressure from lawmakers and patient advocates as the life-saving drug has more than tripled in price, looking back at trends over the last 2 decades. More cases of colorectal cancer detected in advanced stages, and rates are increasing among young people, all according to new findings in a report from the American Cancer Society. Doctors aren't sure exactly what's driving the trend, but say more than half of cases are linked to risk factors that can be controlled. Your diet, exercise, smoking. Doctors recommend knowing your risk and getting screened, ideally with a colonoscopy starting at age 45. It is still the 3rd deadliest cancer here in the U.S. Locally, tomorrow, various departments at URMC and Strollin' for the Colon, a nonprofit, are hosting an info session at Strong Memorial Hospital. That's from 7 to 4 tomorrow all the way also is, by the way, Dress in Blue Day to help raise awareness for the cause. Students in Monroe County are celebrating their perfect career matches as they get into the workforce. The Finger Lakes Youth Apprenticeship Program held its 4th annual signing day ceremony at Monroe Community College last night. Through this program, students are able to meet up with a number of business reps hiring in the region. They can then rank their top choices, and those business reps can then rank the students to find the match. The two are then paired up, and students can start job shadowing or maybe get a paid co-op. Students with Greece Central Schools had the opportunity, along similar lines, to get hands-on learning experiences from their first responders. Some of our departments held the first class titled Responding to Emergencies Career Pathway, designed for students interested in pursuing a career in those fields. Firefighters say it's just as beneficial to them as first responders as it is for the students. Here's a headline for Bills Mafia. Might get some talk today. The NFL Players Association, the union, has revealed a poll that ranks teams by quality of training, facilities, staff, and other player support areas. The Bills ranked 9th overall, getting grades of A+ for weight room and strength staff, and the training staff and treatment of player families also got A grades. You think of everybody that helped DeMar Hamlin. Nutrition only got a C. The team nutritionist works with the Sabres. The Bills players thinks maybe not all the focus is on their needs. Travel got a grade of D. The Bills, one of 6 teams that still force young players into having roommates on the road. If that's enough to give you a D, that's all right. That's fine. It's just part of it, right?
Yeah, that's fun.
Stick around long enough, you'll be up next to Josh Allen up top.
Yeah. You know, I wonder, you know, eating obviously so important for pro athletes.
Yeah.
That if this is going to help trigger maybe the funding of getting
I know that
athlete.
nutritionist is like, hey, listen, I got to juggle both seasons with the Sabres and the Bills.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Bus stop forecast as we grab our packed lunch. Mostly cloudy skies, temperatures in the mid-30s. Mostly cloudy this afternoon, upper 30s. All the action begins tomorrow, and not even tomorrow during the day. It's the evening time that we're going to focus on. By that evening commute, snow starts, turns over to sleet. Looking at 3 to 6 inches on the ground by Saturday morning.
How about that? Just in time for the weekend. Thanks for watching us here at News 8 at Sunrise. We'll see you back here in 30 minutes. CBS Mornings coming your way.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, Twitter, and on our app for news and weather.